I'm very, very excited to be sitting here with Park Bishop, who has an amazing story and a very powerful message to share. So, Park, thank you so much for taking this time.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
It's great to see you again.
Yes.
First of all, maybe you could just tell people a little bit about your story and why you became so passionate about serving other people in the way that you have a desire to right now with your message.
Okay. Well, I've always seemed to have an interest in the physical corrections of the body and finding ways that were successful in doing this. And one of the things is I had 4 back injuries. They were pretty serious. I didn't break anything. It'd almost been better if I had of, okay, and then I could have fixed that, but it was all structural. And a doctor told me one time that my skull bones were out of place and that if I would pay him a large amount of money to put him back, that I would function better the rest of my life. And I thought it was too much money for the treatment. And somebody told me to look into upledger and craniosacral work. And I did. And for almost half the price, I could go visit my mother in the winter. I owned a landscape company at the time. And I could take this course for 4 days, and I thought, hey, I went there to get treatment, and it would be a better deal. And it wound up exciting me so much of what you could do with gentle touches on the body to release tension in the membranes, and it just excited me no end. Long story short, a year later, I entered school to get a license to touch people. I acquired that. I sold my landscape company, bought another guy out that wanted to leave, and I wanted his name, Deep Tissue Massage Center. And then what I did is I took a course just before that. Now, mind you, I didn't have a license to touch people, but it was a visceral manipulation course, and when this brand new student, first time, worked on my stomach, pulled it down, and all of a sudden the pain left out of my back. But it was feeling like Velcro being ripped from the inside of my rib cage.
Wow.
And it wasn't painful, but I thought, oh my God, I made a mistake. But you know what? I didn't need any other treatment for 1 year and 9 days. And probably the reason I needed it is I was under super stress that weekend, okay? Right. And I was just super tense, and it came back. But the point is, I kept getting better. Well, I said, you know what? I've got to do this for other people, because I already had an interest.
Right.
And as a result, I've taken a massive amount of courses because I'm always looking. I've got a little sign by Thomas Edison that says, there's a way to do it better, find it. I see it every day when I walk out the door, and that's what I'm passionate about that. I work with people who have not had all the success that they would like from any other therapist. I don't care whether it's a massage therapist, a chiropractor, or somebody that does energy work or hypnosis or anything. I can work with those people and make an improvement in them because of the broad background I have. And I'm to the point where I get really tough people now. I mean, here's an example. This little girl had fallen down the stairs. She's about 16 years old, was a track star in her high school, and she would pass out every once in a while because she hurt so bad. And on a Thursday, she passed out in school, and the nurse there, got her to the ambulance, and they took her to Children's, and they examined her, and they gave her 2 diagnoses. Number 1, you have a phantom tumor. You either have one or you don't, okay? But her whole left side, she didn't have any sensation, and she couldn't move it. So we had to take my chair that I sit in that has rollers on it out to get her into the car and bring her into the office, and her right side would work, so I could do the little muscle checking that I do. And the other diagnosis that she got is convergence deficiency, which means that the eyes coming at can't track in and look here or up here, and that's the reason why she had this problem. I knew that was cranial nerve 6. I'm not even sure the doctor knew what nerve it was, okay? And it comes off the brainstem, and I know how to straighten out the brainstem. Maybe one of the very few that can do that, because you can't straighten it from up here. You have to straighten it from the sacroiliac joint. But I figured out how to do it. Thing is, I've looked on the websites, and I can't find anybody that tells how to correct those brainstem nerves, okay? Or TMJ, and I know how to do that. And I've known about it since 2008. I thought, well, hey, that's pretty easy. I can't find anybody else that, even Mayo Clinic says, we do not know the cause of TMJ. I do. because the jaw doesn't operate in the front plane. It twists sideways, that it is. So regardless of what it is, I know I can do something, because the underlying principle is put the body back in balance. Structurally, the nerve supply will start to work. You feed them properly, and that's going to work, and they're going to get better. Now, they may not get everything they want, okay? But I have a 98% referral practice at this point, okay?
See how busy he is?
That's my office, too. I have a 98% referral practice. The advertising doesn't seem to work if I put it in the phone book or anything like that. But my presence does, and the referrals do.
Amazing. And maybe you can just share how you came to know Fred Van Liew and all of the things that he does to serve and to help people.
Okay. Somebody that had taken one of his courses said, you need to come and take this course from Fred and Robin. And I thought, I'm so experienced, I probably don't need it. But it was right here in town, and it's only about 15 blocks from my office. So I said, that's easy, I'll come do that. Okay? I don't have to go to Houston or San Antonio or Atlanta or someplace like that. And so I did, and I was impressed with how that process turned on the nervous system and how it functioned, and I liked the testing procedure. And I thought, hey, I can use this in my courses. So I took the first round of course, and then a few months later they offered, the advanced BSA, and I took that, and I keep bugging her. Robin says, when are you going to teach the next one? I want to go to the third course. Okay. Well, I've taken the first course over again, okay. If they're local, I like to take everything twice, because, after you've worked on a couple of hundred people and you've done it again, there's always things that come to your mind and what you can do. And of course I picked that up, and I will take the second one again when it comes around. And if they ever get around to having the third one, I'll take that one too. Okay. And so I'm just passionate about it, because I find more and more ways to deal with a broader range of people that have physical problems.
Right.
And at this point, I can help everybody a noticeably amount. I don't know that I can handle every condition. But a key thing, one time I had a woman that had been assaulted, and her face was jammed into the concrete about 15 times, that's what she told me. She passed out. It just distorted her face. Her eye sockets were at different levels. Her jaw was out of place. He broke her nose. and I was able, with the limited knowledge I had at that time, to put it all back in place. And she brought me wedding pictures that she'd had quite some time ago. And she says, look, my face is better now than it was then. And that was before the trauma, okay?
Wow.
And so I can do that. I can do that job quicker now.
That must, what must that feel like, to know that you've done that for someone?
It feels awesome. Her oral facial surgeon told her she'd need I think it was a 5-hour operation and $7,000. And the company she worked for didn't have insurance for that. And we did it for 8 or 9 sessions.
Wow. That's just remarkable. And maybe you could just share with me now, have you also, aside from the trainings that you've been through with the BSA, have you utilized some of the different products that eWater provides to people, the nutritional supplements and everything?
Well, for myself at home, I love that, I think they call it the vitalizer that spins the water, okay?
Yes.
And the thing that excited me about it when I saw the thing is that I'd read a book, I forget the guy's name, Schornburn or something like that, and he talked about how water is dead because it flows through pipes and it doesn't move. But if it goes down a stream, it goes like this and it bangs against the rocks and it picks up that vibrational frequency. And what it does is it makes water it expands it. Okay, so it doesn't, it's different. In other words, ice and water are the same chemical, but ice floats and it's a different structure. So it structures the water. And he said if you'd run water through pipes and had it spin, that it worked. And this is the first time I saw one of those jobbies that spin it around. What is it called? Vitalizer? Is that what it's called?
I'm asking you. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't see it. But I make sure I drink it every single day, and I can tell a difference. I have more vitality. I have more energy. The water absorbs better. Sometimes I work pretty long hours. Sometimes I work 10 hours a day. And by drinking that, I don't get dehydrated. Okay? I feel really good. And everything that I eat absorbs better. So I know that that's the one I like the best. Okay.
And I think of myself as a relatively energetic person, but you, I mean, your energy just abounds, and it comes out of you, and I think it's so powerful. And I know that you just have such a huge spirit. Do you mind telling everybody how many years young you are?
Okay. Do you want to guess?
You know what? I think that most people will probably think that you're in your mid 60s, late 60s.
Yeah, I'm past late 60s. Okay, I'm 71 this year. Okay.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But here's and I know you, so I kind of guess in there, but I think that your energy is more powerful than most 25-year-olds that I know. Do you know what I'm saying by that? Your spirit.
You know what?
Your passion.
My passion. Yes, that's true. But I think that so many people that are younger than I am, they just don't eat good food, and they don't have that vitality about their cell structure. And I'm pretty fanatic. I'm not totally radical on it. Okay.
Right.
And if somebody invited me out and they had something that wasn't the best, I'd probably still eat a little bit of it anyway.
Right.
Okay, but when I have the chance to choose, and fortunately my wife does this, she feels the same thing about good quality stuff, and so we eat foods that energize us, that don't deplete that energy.
But
and that helps. That's not the only thing, but that helps.
Let me talk to you about the fact that, because I've had a chance to meet you because you've attended, one of my events. And, when it comes to, people being thriving and being happy and just really manifesting their highest purpose. I think one of the things with you is that you're so passionate about helping other people, serving other people, and the message that you have to share. Have you always had that passion and that drive inside of you, or did something happen to shift you into that space where you really knew what you were focused on?
Well, not always. I have liked absolutely everything I've done. In other words, I've made the best of it. I was in Vietnam for a year, okay? And I know so many people that just absolutely hated it, okay? I didn't think it was very exciting, okay? But I didn't totally dislike it. I had some ugly jobs, okay? And
while you were in Vietnam?
In Vietnam. One of them I was the officer for graze registration for the 1st Infantry Division. That was not a pleasant job, but it was a job and I did it. One time I was transferred to a small brigade unit about 20, 30 miles away from where the main headquarters was. And first thing, I know lieutenants don't know anything. So I asked the sergeant, I says, what do we need to do today? And I inherited a group of 17 people, and everything was terrible. They didn't have hot food. I mean, we owned all the food. I mean, we distributed it out, okay? And we were sitting in water, when it rained, and I said, this just isn't right. And he said, Lieutenant, you need to go to talk to this man over here at such and such a company and get the road graders in here and fill this thing up with rock. And we need to do this. And I said, you know what does it take to get that unit right over there and getting us hot food? I did more in 1 month, and then I was transferred to downtown Saigon.
Right.
Than the other lieutenant did in 6.
Right.
I knew that the sergeant knew, so I just asked him, what do we do? He said, well, you got the bars, go. And I did exactly what he said. But to me, it was fun. It's a piece of cake. It wasn't complicated, What is right and what is now, and how do we get there? It's that simple. Everything is that way in life.
Yeah, and I think that, to me, you're really a testimony to, there's a lot of young people and people that are, middle-aged and senior citizens that still these days feel a little bit lost. Like they haven't really found how to manifest in the world, utilizing their talents and abilities to go out and to enjoy their lives and to know that their life has had purpose. And I think that what I really appreciate about you is that, you attended one of my events and you've already been successful in your life, but you're still a student. You know what I mean? You
forever.
Right. Now, why are you still a student and always, I think people need to hear that. Like, what is it that you realize in your education, that you need to continue that education and be open to be mentored by other people, including someone like me who's younger than you and a girl, a female. Like, how do you understand the philosophy of that?
Well, I always like to do the best job I know how to do. And in my knowledge, I've always done it. I can do today, when somebody comes in me with a physical problem, their back's out of place, their shoulder doesn't, work right, or they've got restrictions, or they don't digest their food well, or something like that. I can do today, after I've been in full-time with a license in the business, about at least a third faster than I could 12 years ago. And it comes from training. It comes from becoming more specific, more how to find where is that restriction in the body. Okay, what spinal segment does it come from? How can I release that tension and free up that nervous system to do it? And one of my instructors made this statement. He said, when the body is in balance, in other words, everything has the right movement, it does what it ought to do, and you don't have restrictions on the nervous system, he said the nervous system is freed up and it will do what it's supposed to do.
Right.
So you will digest your food, your eyes will see better, you'll have less headaches or none, or sometimes we can find allergies on people, okay? Sometimes it's just the fact that, man, it doesn't work. If T3 is blocked a little bit, you're not going to breathe right. If you can't lift up your rib cage and take in enough air, you're not going to have enough oxygen to have that zest in life. And we can do that. Sometimes that only takes 2 sessions to get the rib cage, to open up and take in the air, and then you're going to digest your food better. You're going to get better out of your food. You're going to everything. But you asked me a question. Well, let's go back and review that.
Well, the question was, you're still coachable, and you are still pursuing education and influence from other people to basically take you to a higher level. And I think sometimes people get to a point and think, I don't need anybody to teach me anything else. But you have a different philosophy on that as somebody who's already been successful, and you serve other people. And I just wanted to have you share that with people, that what is it in you that made you realize that I need to constantly stay open to mentors and education and coaching from other people?
I just like to learn, and everybody has something that I don't know. Okay, it might just be a 10-year-old child, but he knows things I don't know.
Right.
Okay, and I'm willing to learn from anybody. I took a course late last year. It's called continuous massage. Okay, so it's how you just massage somebody without taking your hands off of them, essentially, and making it continuous and using both hands. And at the end of the course, the instructor said, it's obvious that you know a lot of stuff that I don't know. And he says, I want to thank you for not jumping in and saying anything, because he says, somebody, when they think they know something you don't know, they want to. I said, look, when I'm in your class, I'm a student. You're the teacher. I'm not going to try and change whatever you do, even though I saw some things I thought might be a little better, or answer some questions. No, you're the head man. I'm going to learn from you. I'm a student. That's the way I feel.
Well, I think it's wonderful that that you've always remained open in your life to learning new things and staying open, because I think sometimes when people get stuck in their lives, they don't realize if they'll just lay it down and stay open to going to people who already have the success that they want, and learning some new, even if it's one different little strategy that can make a huge difference in their lives, it has a tremendous impact. And I think what I'd like to also bring up is that when it comes to people like Fred Van Liew, who you have obviously embraced his events, the products that he offers, because you see the value in that. Obviously, you're a professional yourself, so you know that. Maybe you could share a little bit about, for people who don't know him like you do, they may have seen him on a website, or they saw him at an event, or they seen him speak live, or whatever the case may be. Just your feelings about who he is as a person and as a professional.
Okay. When I first met him, one of the things I got was his adrenal book, and I've studied quite a bit of nutrition. Okay, it's not the major thing; it's a little minor thing, but one of them is on that adrenal book. With the background I have in nutrition, is dealing with the adrenals is so key. It's the foundation of almost everything. You cannot correct any hormone problem in anyone if you don't get the adrenals strong enough.
Right.
Nothing will stay. The hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis will not work until you get the adrenals working functionally. Now you can do them all at the same time, but you have to do that. If a person has weak adrenals, I don't care what I do to them physically to release tension in the internal organs or the membranes inside the skull, or a shoulder that's giving you problems. If you don't have that adrenal energy, you can't hold it.
Right.
You've got to have it. So that book is key to getting understanding. And I can't think of an exact one thing that I got out of it. When I read this, I said, man, this is right, this is right, this is right. And it's confirming that. But a lot of people don't even try it to their physical condition, People go home and they're tired. They just don't have any gas in their tank at the end of the day. Well, you know why I go to bed? Because it's midnight. I got to go to bed so I can get up and go to work in the morning, okay? That's not because I'm tired,
right?
Okay?
Right.
But I take care of myself. I supplement well, I eat well, and all of that ties in, and I try to share that with other people because most people don't feel really good.
Right, right. Absolutely. And, what would be the thing that you would say to people that, also there's people that are watching us right now and they're considering going to one of Fred's educational events, or they're thinking about maybe getting the spinning water.
Oh yeah, there right? You go.
Or they may want to get the bulldozer pack, whatever the case may be, but they're a little skeptical. They don't know who he is. Like, what would you say to those people that are thinking about becoming involved in what eWater has to offer?
I think you have to have the concept that you want to get better than where you are. Okay, and I think one of the great dilemmas in life is you have to be content where you are, but you also have to be discouraged because it's not what you would like to be. Mm-hmm. And so it's content and discontent at the same time at the same place. And so that allows you then to seek something better. Mm-hmm. And Fred's got a lot of great ideas. His book is, the products that he handles, they're all designed to move you in a direction of better than where you are now.
Right.
And he certainly seems to live that, okay? And I don't know that he can stay as cheerful as he does all of the time. He always seems to be okay. I don't know.
He's a pretty cheerful man.
Most of the time, yes, I know that. But I also know that if you work 16 hours one day, the next day's not going to be quite so good, okay?
Well, and I think that's important for people to know, too, because he is human,
Yes, uh-huh.
But, I think that, his passion... I think that's what I think that I appreciate, is that he's extremely passionate about what he does and extremely committed to the dedication of doing whatever he can to help people feel better, and healthier in their lives.
Yes, uh-huh.
Which is similar to how you feel. I feel the same way. We may all go about it in a different way as far as within our own careers, mm-hmm. but I think that it's always nice to know that at the end of the day, it's really not, a lot of people are so focused on things and status and money and all of that, but the driving force in him, and I know that that's in you, and it certainly is in me, is to really serve, mm-hmm. at the highest level and know that your life has had purpose.
Yes, uh-huh. I like the fact that everything that he's promoting is for a person to be better off health-wise, emotionally, give them an opportunity to earn money or do something other than where they are now. In other words, they don't have to be stuck. Okay, so many people don't have choices. I feel I've got an unlimited number of choices. So it doesn't excite me, but I mean, somebody that, doesn't know how they're going to pay off their house mortgage or something like that, they can come and do some of the things that Fred offers, and they can move in that direction, okay? One of the things I want to do a little bit later, it's a little bit off course in my own life, is that I know that water is absolutely critical. You cannot survive without water, okay? Maybe 3 days max, okay? But the better quality is that you have, okay? I'm just about to undo my old water system that I've had in my house for years and get one of Fred's, because I asked some questions the other day, and it, from what I know about water, it'll get the junk out. Mm-hmm. And you cannot put junk poison in your water. It's like this. We live in a city that's downriver from someplace up north, and I would hate to live in New Orleans. I mean, everybody that's flushed the toilet up in Illinois. You got to drink that stuff down in New Orleans, okay?
Oh my gosh, that paints a very disgusting picture. But thank you, Park.
Okay, you're welcome. And you take a look at all of the
But it's true.
Yeah, all of the motorboats and bigger
know.
rivers, that carry all this traffic, and they dump stuff into it, and all of this stuff. You can't live healthily
Right.
if you have junk in the water.
Right.
You've got to get it out. It's that simple. Okay.
Well, I just really appreciate you taking your time to come in today and just to share, your story and your experience. Because I think the main thing is for people to understand that, this is really about serving people, and by embracing things that can make people feel better internally and externally, then, they really have a chance to embrace what their real passion is and their talent is. And I think you're such a great testimony to that, Park. And what I love of the example that you've set as somebody who's actually, you're now in your 70s, is that your vibrancy, your passion, your spirit is really more powerful than most, 20, 30-year-olds. And I think you set an amazing example for what a purpose-driven life is really all about. So,
I definitely have that.
yes,
I
you
definitely have
do.
it.
So I want to thank you, and I want to give you a hug.
Let me say one more thing.
Okay,
I want
please
the
do.
hug.
All right, and then we'll get the
But there was a kind of a retirement home. It's a very nice, very classy place, okay? And we got an invitation in the mail to come there, and I thought, you know what, I'd really like to go up there and give some talks to these people and see if I could excite them in what I do, of course. And, they all hurt.
Right.
And, the other thing, they had the wherewithal to come to me. Now, I'm not expensive, but I'm not cheap either, but I get good results. And so my wife and I went up there, and we looked around, and we listened to their thing, and they showed us this, and one of the guys was walking through, he says, that we've got card games here, and we do this, and we've got a craft center, and we've got the swimming pool, and they've got a little gardening center and all that. And I thought, you know what, these people, they have such a limited view of what they want to do. I would die in a place like that, because nobody wants to do anything, real exciting.
Yes.
They just want to sit there. I said, well, they can travel, obviously, but, they've got buses to carry you someplace if you want to go. And I thought, you know what? And I just looked at those people, and the rooms, they all look alike.
I know.
They got a little bit different decorations, but you walk down the halls, all the halls look alike. I've been in hotels that are better decorated, even though that was a really classy place.
Right.
And I thought, this is not for me. I'm going to stay right where I am in my own home. I can decorate the way I want. I can go out and miss them on the yard or not. And
it's a blessing that at your age, there are certain people that, and I think, when people are not, and this is a great example, when people are not really living their life at the highest level, internally, meaning like they have monetized or have been able to fulfill their life's purpose, their body, your body is affected by that, because you're still healthy, you walk around just as energetic as any 25-year-old, but other people, that aren't in a situation that do need to go into a facility like that, where they have that extra support, I think it just says a lot that, we have this one life to live, and when we can really embrace the God-given talents that we all have and manifest it in the world, you recognize that that's not really what your life is about. You have so much more life to live. Both my mom and dad, who were presented with the same opportunity that you were in a facility like that, chose to move into a neighborhood with a bunch of toddlers. It was a brand, and I'll tell you why.
Was it 60 and 70-year-old toddlers?
My parents were in their mid-70s, and they looked at a couple of those places, and they said the same way. They didn't want to be surrounded by people who kind of had lost their passion for life. And I'm not saying all people in the facilities are,
they don't.
Some of them really need to be there. They need the support. But they wanted to be surrounded by young people who were still passionate and enthusiastic about life. And so they moved into this brand new neighborhood full of toddlers and young families, because they wanted that energy, that youthful energy around them, because that's the way that they were, So and that is who you are, and like I said, you're a tremendous inspiration. No matter what age you are, it's never too late to go out there and embrace the things that you're passionate about and create the successful life that you've always desired. So. You know, Colonel Sanders didn't start his whole thing until he was in his he was older than you, I think, when he started. I mean, I'm not exactly sure, but he was definitely in that senior citizen age when he started with a whole new business.
Yeah. One of my landscape customers, when I told her what I was going to do and I was going to quit and she's going to have to find somebody else next year, okay, even though I tried to get everybody that I already had to use the man that I sold my business to.
Right.
She said, I don't see how, at your age, that you could just start and do something totally new. She says, my husband would never think of getting out of the field that he's in. He might change companies, but he would still want to be in this computer parts service field. And I looked at her and I said, you know what? I never thought I couldn't.
See?
It never occurred to me that I couldn't just do it.
And that's wonderful because that's unfortunately not the way the average person thinks. And that's why I believe, your message is so important, because I think you are an inspiration, well, not only to everyone, but you are really setting a beautiful example and an inspiration to people that are 55, 60, 65, 70, who they think, I can't make a change. It's too late. All those voices that they hear that says, I can't do it. And you're saying, I never thought that I couldn't. And by doing it and manifesting that in your life, you set the highest example of what's possible.
No, that's probably true, yeah.
You're awesome, Clark. Thank
Thanks,
you
hon.
so much. Give me a hug.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet.